all this shit around this Twitch streamer or whatever the fuck he is called Destiny just keeps continually blowing up in an ongoing way. I suspect that he's provoking it just to kind of raise his profile at this point, really. So, but I listened to that train wreck with JonTron. I listened to him attempt to debate Sargon and attempt to debate Mr. Mythica. And while he's practiced, I don't think he's actually that good a debater. He kind of refuses to really get into the meat of things during these discussions. Kind of gish gallops a bunch of stuff, mounts a fighting retreat if he's against someone who's a decent debater, and then just, well, let's agree to disagree, and moves on to the next subject without any kind of resolution or anything. But there's a point that he keeps making in all of these videos that just annoys the piss out of me, and I don't think it's making the kind of argument that he really means it to make. So he keeps talking about, like, a hypothetical black kid in the inner city who doesn't see certain careers or whatever presented in the form of people who look like him in the media, and that this somehow places some sort of responsibility upon the media to place people like him in those positions in order to inspire him to take up those jobs. There's a number of problems with that. Firstly, I guess, from a creative point of view, there's verisimilitude. You know, you want your fictional world to reflect reality to a sufficient degree that people feel it's familiar and grounded and real. And so if people like them aren't represented in these careers and so on, it can be jarring and harmful to the fiction to wedge it on in there. You know, we see this quite a lot in all forms of media, where people try to crowbar certain representations in rather than putting the story first and allowing that kind of thing to grow organically out. As more and more people of more and more variety enter more and more careers, that will change, but that's the way around that I think it has to change. And that brings me to my second point about this, I guess. And that point would be, where are these kids getting the idea that they can only do things that people of the same skin pigment do on TV? Who is instilling this idea? Why would they feel that they can't do something that anybody does? You know, who is creating that impression on these kids? Is that a healthy thing to be impressing upon them? Well, if you not being represented is a bad thing, well, we're all human beings. Isn't that the lesson we should be teaching kids? That anyone can try and do anything. It doesn't matter. So who is instilling the idea in these kids that race and gender and sexuality and whatever else is so manifestly important, when it's kind of irrelevant, really, to what you decide to do, what you want to do? You know, it doesn't really matter in a lot of cases. There's a few cases, I guess, military or athleticism, where different things about who and what you are will have a marked effect on your ability to succeed in that career. But otherwise, who is creating this impression? It's not the culture. The culture as a whole very much tells, to the point of it being a problem, it tells kids, yeah, you can be whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, shoot for the stars. You know, you might land up in the gutter on fire, but yeah, shoot for the stars anyway. You know. So it seems to me that it's rather people like Destiny, like social justice warriors, who are instilling these ideas in people that for some reason they can't do something, that they're a victim, that the world and the system is against them. And yet, even if it is, we do see people succeeding in these careers anyway. So, you know, occasionally we do have examples. Yes, people are restricted by their circumstances, more financial than anything else. But why add to that by telling kids, effectively, oh, you can't do that until someone does it that looks exactly like you? You know, there's always going to be more differences between one person and another than there are similarities. So why fixate on something so utterly irrelevant as skin pigment that really has nothing to do with anything? Surely it'd be far healthier to get kids to see everybody as a fellow human being, so that when they look at the screen, they're not seeing a black person or a white person or an Asian person. They're just seeing a human being. I'm a human, they're a human, I can do what they do if I put my mind to it, if I'm lucky, if I make the effort. That seems to me to be a far healthier position than all this dividing people up and telling them they can't do things. And that's what pisses me off about that whole line of argument, because essentially it's self-defeating, because the person telling these kids that they can't be something is you, and people like you, Destiny. You giant throbbing bell end.